Here's a rundown on some of our national and international headlines for this Tuesday morning, May 2nd, 2017. Looking at the election in France, the runoff continues. It's set now for the next round is May 7th. Marine Le Pen on one side of the issue here, Emmanuel Macron on the other. They're trading barbs and accusations at each other in the lead-up, of course. And some of that got a little heated during the May Day celebrations. Yesterday, where some protesters actually threw a gas bomb and injured some police. Now, both of those sides, of course, again, focusing a lot on the EU and on the possibility of France withdrawing from the EU, a Frexit, very much like the Brexit issue. And what's interesting now is that Macron, who has been a strong EU, a staunch supporter of we need to stay in the European Union, now he's talking about the possibility of France leaving as well, saying, yeah, okay, the union needs some work. We need some major reform. And, of course, on the other side, Miss Le Pen doubling down, saying that, yeah, of course she's a European, but she doesn't like political structure. And first and foremost, we should be French. And now she's talking about the possibility of a different kind of European group, like an association of free and independent states, which, if history serves me correctly, that's what the United States was supposed to have been a long time ago. We can talk about that sometime. There was a possibility now of Russia planting deep-sea nukes off the U.S. coast. And I don't know if this is science fiction or if this is some strange conspiracy theory, but a former military man from Russia, military expert, is now claiming that that's what Russia is focusing on because there's absolutely no way they can keep up with the United States in a new arms race. There's no way that they can have enough missiles to be able to knock the United States out if it comes to that. And, of course, Russians are still preparing for the possibility of a first strike from the United States because the United States has been spending so much money on these missile shield ideas. They're saying, why are we trying to shield ourselves unless we're also planning on hitting them? So now, apparently, the focus is on putting nukes under the ocean capable of creating a tsunami and wiping out the seaboard. The presence of the United States military off the coast of North Korea still causing some issues internationally, not just with North Korea, but also with China and with Russia, as the entire region is getting lit up right now in terms of the level of anxiety and, just everybody's looking at this with North Korea threatening to sink these ships, Japan now sending in military ships to support the U.S. ships, China and Russia, everybody pointing missiles at each other and saying, hey, don't push the trigger. I've got my finger on the trigger. If you get your finger on the trigger, it's getting really tense over there. And now, of course, the warning that just the very presence of increased U.S. military there could end up threatening a global catastrophe. SpaceX managed to launch another satellite, and actually a U.S. spy satellite went up on Monday. I don't know if this is the first such launch of a U.S. spy satellite by a private company, but that'll be the subject of my commentary today. I've definitely got some words to say about that. The removal of statues and other Civil War era monuments in New Orleans is now causing more people to come in and protest from outside of New Orleans. Now the possibility of violence, that specter being raised of, hey, I will chain myself to that statue if you try to take it. If I had my gun on me, you'll be dead. A lot of really high tensions there as well. And it looks like they're trying to get the tensions down in Syria. We have yet another round of peace talks scheduled for this week as delegates are arriving right now for the fourth round. It's in Astana in Kazakhstan. That's going to be happening toward the end of this week. Ukrainian armed forces are preparing for martial law. Now, this is something that would have to be declared both by the Defense Committee and by a presidential decree with approval of Parliament. However, from the stories that I'm seeing here, it looks like the Ukrainian forces are fully ready to impose martial law across Ukraine. And Russia and Japan have apparently buried the hatchet over the Kuril Islands. They're going to remain in Russian hands. However, they're going to be open for joint economic development between Russia and the Japanese business conglomerates there. So we'll see where that goes. Last story we've got for you is that avocado prices are at an all-time high. This is very bad news for those of us who are avocado fans. A lot of it has to do with simple supply and demand, as there's not enough avocados to go around in terms of the number of people who want to put them on their salads or on their burgers or just, eat a nice, yummy avocado. But now there's also the possibility of the imposition of tariffs, something that President Trump has threatened to do, which would also then raise the prices higher. And who's going to be the one suffering for it is the avocado lover. Don't take away my avocado. That's what we've got for our national and international headlines. Make sure you check out my Alaska news and send me a comment, steve@radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.